Hi there. Welcome to Crypto TBC. You know, it now boils down to TBC versus the currencies of the world. Back before banking, before the banking industry ever took place, there was violence, was about the only means used at the time back then to conquer and take control of humanity. But since the banking industry, there has been a different method used, a much more silent, much more deceptive, much more a method that has enslaved just about the entire human race to this thing called money. The world has been set up in such a way. I didn't say the earth has been set up in such a way. I said the world has been set up in such a way that money is the objective. But is it? Is money really the objective? You see, I believe this is exactly the point where most of us on this planet have lost our perceptive, our how would we say it, our objective of life. What are we really here for? For an industrial enslavement, a monetary system that has every person, almost every person, so busy accomplishing very little that they don't seem to have time for friends and family and the good things in life. The best things in life are free. There is zero cost to the best things in life. Why then are we enslaved to a monetary system that has been squeezing humanity tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter? Who's doing this squeezing? Who puts this pressure on? Do you see this right here? Illuminati. Who are they? Who are the Illuminati? Back in the early stages of the banking industry, there was a man in Germany, whose last name was Bauer. I don't remember the first name, if I ever actually even did hear it or read it. I can't really recall right now. I'm sure there was a first name, or I think so anyway. The last name was Bauer. Well, he changed his last name to what in German would mean red shield. In English, it's pronounced Rothschild. Well, this family, ever since then, has been scheming and coming up with deceit, trickery, taking control of governments, controlling the monetary system, taking control of just about the entire global monetary systems everywhere, and thereby controlling the governments and creating the rat race of industry that we find ourselves in right now. And I think it's time we ask ourselves, why are we really here? To get stuff? To get more stuff? To be busier? To accumulate more stuff? What is the purpose? And we could all just lay back and say, oh, well, well, somehow I believe in God, and of course, God is going to take care of everything. So I'm just going to be very busy, barely getting by, and let the world figure it out. Well, my friend, that happens to be what the Illuminati love. That exact attitude is what they're looking for to further their advances and their schemes. Where are we going at with their agenda? Where is this world going? Remember World War II? Remember Russia? Remember the good promises that were made? And by who? By who were these promises made? Oh, right, by Hitler. Hitler was the one that making the promises in Germany, right? Oh, yeah, it was Stalin that made the promises in Russia. But was it? Was it? You see, Hitler, he was the puppet on the stadium, proclaiming. He was the puppet on the stadium, making the proclamations to the people of all the good that he was going to give them. Stalin was the puppet on the stadium behind, but in front of the people, making all the promises of the good that he was going to do in Russia. If you know anything about the history of both of those cases, and those are only two of many, where the governments very shortly after all their rosy promises extinguished the people by the millions. What is the objective? Now, what about the promises? What about, okay, I meant promises. I meant, what about the false flag attacks that have been taking place over the years by the United States? Or is it the United States? You see, ever since the US was formed, since Christopher Columbus supposedly found America, if you dig a little deeper than the history that you've been taught in school, you will find that Christopher Columbus, he didn't discover America. He didn't actually discover anything. He was sent here by the British, who were already in control of the then known world and the financial systems as back then. They had already conquered. They first took control of the banking system in England, and then, of course, went ahead and conquered all of the banks and took control of all of the banking systems in Europe. Oh, I forgot to mention I forgot to mention, the monetary systems in the world, they aren't owned by the governments like you probably thought. It's very likely that that's what you were thinking, that those governments, they are controlling the money for the people, of course. But that's not who's in control. Not by a long shot. The cartels that own the monetary systems in the world are basically the Rothschild family, and then of course their associates that they associate with. So we might ask the question, maybe they are friends. Well, friends? I'm not very sure that I believe that they have such a thing as friendship or know of such a thing. You see, these are people that have not been human since centuries ago. Humanity has been breeded out of them long ago. But the question remains, where are we going? If we stay on the path, where are we going? Well, if you will take the time to watch the video that my screen is parked on here right now, that will give you some insight. And if you go ahead and read what the disclaimer of TBC is, then you will realize what I had said before, that what it has come down to in this world is TBC versus the monetary systems of the world. Basically, that is what it's coming down to. And what do I have for TBC that I am so convinced you should be part of it? Listen, I don't think you should do anything. It's not up to me. I really, really do not want to make any decision for you or tell you that you should do anything, because to me it really does not matter what you do. Your decisions make up your life, and that's for you. However, I believe that it is important that we wake up as to what the world is coming to, because the powers that are in control of the world, they are using your silence as an answer to say to them that you agree with what they are doing, and thus they are pushing forward their agenda. What is their agenda? Transhumanism, robotism. Their agenda is to kill off the almost 8 billion of us and reduce the number of population to about 100 million, and then make them into robots and transhuman, like half robot, half human, that kind of thing, and totally control them with artificial intelligence. Is there anything I want you to do? Nothing, except that you think for yourself, that you begin to do actual thinking, that you completely stop listening to what other people are telling you, and you begin to use the God knowledge within you, the intelligence that has been built into you by the Almighty, that you begin using that to make your own decisions and start thinking, not just believing what everybody else tells you. And oh well, this doesn't, I'm not sure if what the church would think about this. I'm not sure what the government would think about this. I'm not quite sure. Oh, well, I better stay paralyzed. I better not think for myself. I better not do anything. I better just, yeah, I'm not going to do anything. Okay, no, I better not, because who knows, you know, guys. It's up to you. Are you going to wake up and see what's going on and stop allowing the elite handful of Satanists to use your silence to kill you? Is that really where you want to go? And not only you, but think of your future generations. Think of your children. Think about. Now, if you believe in God, if you believe that there is an almighty creator that has created you for a purpose, then I implore you, use that purpose. Use that purpose to bring freedom back to you and your family, your future generations. We should not be, I don't believe that it's right that we are in a rat race that keeps us so busy barely getting by in this monetary system that is controlled by Satanists. I just don't believe that that's where we want to be. Anybody with any sanity, I just don't believe wants to be there. Do you? So I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to let you read this disclaimer for yourself. You can probably even read it right on this video if you want. I might have already been on it long enough. But listen, do understand what it's coming down to. Because if you watch these videos and you begin to understand where we're going and who is in control of the global monetary system now, thank God, some countries have begun now to actually get rid of the central banks. I think we ought to be truly grateful for that. But it's by far not over. And of course, this is another video where this lady here, she you know, she has some good stuff to say. It's up to you whether you want to watch it or not. Of course, the entire thing is up to you. All of it is up to you. If you're here watching this and you're listening to me, well, it's by your choice that you have stuck it out this long. So again, this is part of the disclaimer of TBC. Now, I know that that if you're reading this and you're finding these here numbers, some of those numbers have actually changed quite a bit, because it states in here that the billion coin is based, or not necessarily based, but the price is sort of hinged on euros. Well, that has been changed. It's no longer on euros. It now hinges to gold. Okay, to the price of gold. That is how these numbers works out now. So because where it tells here about one coin being the price of 1 million or 1 billion euros, well, instead of that, it is now broken down to where where one kringle, which is a breakdown of the coin, it's 100 millionth of a breakdown, something like that, and that would equal 1 grain of gold instead of euros. It's now 1 grain of gold, which actually makes the ultimate price of the billion coin right around 2.2 billion euros worth instead of 1 billion euros. That I'm just pointing that out because these are changes that have been taking place because the system in 2017, the system was not able to handle the amount of transactions that people were doing, and so we ended up with sort of a system collapse because of the not being able to handle the load, and now have created a brand new system which is sort of equivalent to that of Visa and MasterCard to handling those type of transactions. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. So when you read this, there is some stuff that is out of date. So things are now a little different, but the information, the truth about governments, about anything like that, that is all still true. Okay, so again, here is a video that if you watch may be a real eye-opener for you because of governments having the illusion to people, giving people the illusion that they care about the people. And if that's the illusion you are under, thinking that, oh, my government wouldn't do this or wouldn't do that or wouldn't whatever, remember this phrase. Remember what I said earlier. Your government is not controlled by you. Your government is controlled by the Satanists, the Illuminati, what they call themselves, or the elite. There's several different names, but it's the banking cartels that control just about every government in the world. So I need you, or I don't need you to do anything. What all I'm saying is that if you are under that illusion that the government's here to protect us and for our good, that ain't so, my friend. That ain't so. Now, it can become that again, but it certainly hasn't been for the past number of years. Now, you might be asking yourself, what about all those wars that have been going on? The war in Iraq, the war in, what was that all about? All those wars. Folks, it was about gaining control of more oil and putting in central banks in the countries that didn't have them yet. That's what it was all about. To put in the privately owned central banking systems. And you say, well, the U.S. President sanctioned all of that. Folks, that depends on who is president and what that president was up to. You see, most of the presidents as of late have been completely controlled, and not only controlled, but they were voted in. Oh yeah, voted in by the people. Oh yes, the people, yes, okay. Well, let me just share with you here a little bit how that works. The elite or Illuminati or banking cartels, whatever you want to call these creeps that are operating the world from in the shadows. You see, for most of the time, nobody even knew who these people were. But because they remain in the shadows, they run the entire smoke and mirror system from behind the shadows. Nobody knows where they are. Remember how Dorothy, you know, how the Toto, all of a sudden, he went and pulled the curtain back, and then they saw this man there trying to, or pretending to be this wizard. Well, that's how these people operate. They operate from in the shadows, and from there they control the monetary system, they control the economies. So all the boom bust cycles and all of that is all by them. They control all of that, and they also control the governments. So then when it comes to voting in a president, by the way, a president is a different story. I might even share that in this video too. But as they vote in a president, they have two puppets that they put as that are opposing. Let's pay attention to the word opposing each other, okay? Because the reason I want you to pay attention to opposing, these are opposing parties, okay? Well, they both work for the same team, they both work for the same people, they aren't opposing anybody, actually. But the show they're putting on is that they're opposing, that they're from two opposite parties, because that gives the people, makes the people feel like they are choosing a president that is finally going to make a change, you know, in the world, in their economy, and so on. Well, the entire economy being controlled by the banking cartels, what change do you think the president would make? Unless, of course, the president isn't part of them. Unless the president actually isn't on their agenda. You see, that's what could make the change. But for most of the presidents in the past, ever since back in 1913, when the central banking system was established in the US, ever since then, it's basically been wars, because there's a lot of money to be made in wars by the central banks. And so that's why there's been all these wars killing thousands and millions of people. And the central banking system, this cartel, they realized that by lending money to countries and it being backed by the taxpayers' money, that was the safest way to lend out large sums of money. And it becomes very, very profitable. And so they would create enmity between countries, and then finance both sides of the war. Can you picture where that is going? You see, those are the people in control of the world. My question to you is, how much longer, how much further are we going to let them go? Because the point is this: their agenda is to kill off most of the people on the planet. And your silence is used as your consent to their agenda. I would really, really like you to understand what I'm telling you. Your silence is being used as you are supporting. It's being used as your support to their agenda. Now, of course, we would all just love to be silent so that we can soon be killed off, right? That's what we want, right? Well, apparently, that's how the Satanists take it, is that if we don't speak up, we're just silent, then of course they have our full consent that to continue with their agenda. Okay, so I'm gonna just tell you something here, and if you read all the information on this page, you will probably read that TBC was created as a silent protest against the agenda of the elite. It was created as a silent protest that gives people like you and me, that gives us the opportunity to protest against their controlled monetary system to create an economy within the global economy that it now exists, which is a debt-based monetary system, and that we create an economy within this economy that makes the old economy obsolete and renders those Satanists powerless. I wonder if you understood what I was telling you. TBC was created for the purpose of us as the average person to be able to create our own people-based economy within the global economy, which is controlled by the elite banking cartel, so that we create an economy of our own which will make the present economy obsolete. Are you following me what I'm saying? So again, there's another video on here as well, which will shed a lot of light on, if you've been wondering over the past number of years why the news media is the way it is. What you know, you gotta think that somebody is in control of this. It can't just be news that is just natural. This is how the world is. If if that's the illusion that you've been I don't know, brainwashed to believing, I don't know. All I can say is that I hope you wake up. I hope that this video helps you to wake up, because this here is just pure agenda. I'm gonna just listen to this video for a wee bit here, okay? Oh, actually, it doesn't help any. You won't be able to hear it anyways, because the way my mic is set. So I'm not. Oh, yeah, maybe you will.
You're traveling to another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
In consumer news, economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year. Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year. Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
May take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step. step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of.
Okay. I apologize for that little for cutting a little piece out of there. I stopped my recorder. I was going to stop the video and kind of screwed up there. But what does that tell you when all of the news media everywhere using the same line? What does that tell you? Well, here's what it tells me. It tells me that somebody writes the script and forwards it to all of the outlets of the news media, and they read that script. It has nothing to do with anything that might be true in any sense. But it's a control system. Okay, so now, all right, so I will leave that to you if you want to watch these videos to get more, to understand better what I'm saying. But I'm going to move on now to a little bit more. There's a bit more writing here, and he's saying here that he could go on and on and on about so much stuff, so much propaganda, and so incredibly much control that has been taken over every industry. Now, somewhere in the reading, you will find here, if you're reading all the information on this page, which I'm hoping you will, it says on somewhere there, it says that dead doctors don't lie. Well, what's that phrase? Why is that there? Well, over the years, over the past 100 years, there have been a lot of doctors that have been killed because they found cures to cancer, to all sorts of different diseases. And when that became known a little bit, those doctors, they would be found as having committed suicide, or they just ended up floating in the river somewhere, or they were in a mysterious car accident, or everyone, as soon as it became known that they had found a cure for something, then they would, of course, be killed, as well as also some people who came up with some inventions that would make fuel burning vehicles obsolete. Anything like that was people would find themselves mysteriously killed. Okay, so there's quite a few videos here on this page, and what we are trying to accomplish with this page is for you to understand where we're going, where this world is going, if we don't stop participating. And why do I use that phrase? If we don't stop participating? Listen, by using the monetary system, we are participating. And with our silence, we are giving our voluntary consent. That's how this system operates. We're giving our voluntary consent, saying that it's all good, it's all okay the way you're doing things. You want to kill you want to kill 8 billion of us? Yeah, go ahead. We appreciate that. That's exactly what we want you to do. So yeah, we'll stay silent, and then that's our consent to that. And this turning people into robots, transhuman, and all that stuff, do you agree with that? Well, if you don't, then you need to stop being silent. And you need to stop supporting that system by using their money. It's their money. They control it. It's theirs. And by every dollar you spend, every dollar you pay into tax, you are supporting their agenda. You and I are supporting their agenda as long as we use the monetary system. Is it any wonder that somebody came up with an idea that could replace the entire global monetary system in a way that we could finally stop supporting that and have a monetary system of our own that is controlled by people and not by any government? Okay, so, and then of course there is some more text here. So it gives us an overview of what TBC is really all about. And so I encourage you, from just what I've been telling you here, I've only been telling you what I understand from my own education and into all of these things, and to finding out what it's all about. And and now I implore you to make up your own mind, your own decision, what you are going to do. Because the world, massive population, is depending on you to make up your mind to help preserve the God-given life that we have all been given, so this world doesn't kill off almost all of us and turn the rest of them into robots. Okay? At this point, we need one more person to help us. We need one more person that supports true life. We need one more person that is in tune with the frequencies of life that are created by the creator of the universe, so that we don't all fall prey to the Satanists that are in control of the monetary system and are only planning to extinguish most of us and then use this world as a playground for their robots. Okay, so please read this entire blog post. Educate yourself as to what's going on, what's happening, and of course make up your mind whether you want to keep supporting the elite or whether you want to, come on board with TBC and be part of a monetary system that we as people control, an economy that we're going to build that is for the people. Thank you so much for watching this video, and all I ask is make up your own clear mind as to what you are going to do. Thank you.